Call our meeting to order. Are there any changes or additions to the agenda?
No.
So I need a motion to approve the agenda as presented. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor say aye. Opposed the same? Motion carries. Item 3, review and approve the minutes from the June 9th and June 30th meetings. Any questions on the minutes from June 9th and June 30th? Yeah, we did.
Was it June 30th? Oh, it doesn't have to go. Okay. Well, that was fine, thank you.
Any further questions? If not, I need a motion to approve the minutes from the June 9th and June 30th meetings. Second?
Second.
All in favor say aye. Opposed the same? So motion carries. Item 4, the financial reports.
While you're looking through bills, and just go through receipts, general fund cash flow, we've received about 97%. Through the end of June, we've received about 97% of our revenues. According to this, we spent 100.47% of our disbursements that were in the original agenda, but we did amend it, or in the budget, we did amend the budget. So, this does have payroll for July accrued back to it. So.
July or July and August?
Just July.
Just July.
Maybe didn't have.
August wasn't done yet at this point.
Okay.
And it's with the balances in our accounts. We have, general fund has a balance of $820,909. Management has a balance of about $179,000. Capital is $561,000. Silo capital projects is with the CDs is a total assets of $868,000. Debt service has a balance of $6,027. Nutrition fund has a balance of $35,854. We did, out of the nutrition fund, we did write a check for $21,828 to pay back the general fund for the outstanding balance there. So next year we'll have to transfer $23,000 is all. Activity fund has a balance of $318,000. The trust agency is $11,322.
Any questions on the financial reports?
And it'd be this third party administrator, and we'd be moving that out. The third party administrator, but these.
That's our building insurance.
That's the, yeah. No, that is, been very good, yeah.
Eventually we'll be done paying them, but it'll be after people retire last year.
Oh, last year.
Yep.
Okay, so this is.
No other questions on the financial reports, I need a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Second,
Second.
all in favor say aye. Opposed, the same? So the motion carries. Public items of discussion, I understand there's.
Yeah, I've been having some conversation with Sarah Drowley and Cindy Steer about bus stop in Green, and they'd like to address the board as with Matt Gilk. Sarah? Cindy, you want to
Yeah.
run first?
You go ahead.
Okay, on the end of I've done daycare on 8 High School Boulevard for 15 years, and on the end, we've had a bus stop the last 3-4 years. And this year, when they were doing the busing, they took the bus route, our stop away again. And we are maybe just a block and a half from where the buses load, but we have to cross the street behind the high school, which involves parking on High School Boulevard, parking behind the school, and the kids parking in the parking lot. And it's just a safety issue to have us, try to send these. I have 3 pre-Kers. It involves 20 to 25 kids at that one stop. And I have 3 pre-Kers that are gonna have to cross. And, you could say there's older kids not to go, but there's not. They're not much older than the pre-Kers. Sarah went to the city meeting last night, and why they said they could put stop signs, they tabled having the crosswalk, because to do a crosswalk from one corner to the other corner is a slant. And that the kids would be in the street longer going to crosswalk than just, if they ran across the street.
And Cindy,
Yeah.
the conversation about the crosswalk is actually to go from the corner, right there to the entry of the high school. That's where Bill and I had the conversation about having the crosswalk at. And my understanding from the phone call I had with Bill, the only thing they're waiting on is for the city guy to come talk to me so we could decide exactly where that was gonna go.
But wouldn't that go between parking? I mean, I don't understand.
It
What do
goes
you
right
think?
to the main entrance of the high school, so there's actually no parking there.
The,
But,
Behind
there's
the-
parking on both sides there, but
don't kids park behind the high school?
the staff parking's on the right-hand side there.
Right, and then
And
behind
then
the
some-
high
there's
school,
some
the
kids
kids
at the other
park
end, yeah.
right there.
Yes.
So if they're crossing from the high school to come to that stop, which has families that come from each direction, they still have to come out from behind a car to even cross. They have to step onto the road to even look both ways. And and I understand timing and, to bring the kids all over here, but it's just a matter of involves multiple families, and it's, 20 to 25. I myself have, and it's not even a daycare stop because it's not at my house. The kids go to the end to Sarah's house. But my house during the week, that involves 15 to 16 kids multiple times, 8 every day, that have to, try to cross the street. And, there could be all the crosswalk in the world, but we all know 4-year-olds on up, it's like a herd mentality. One's gonna go, they're all gonna go. There's no cross guard, there's no, anything else. And it's just safety. It's just, I gotta sit there and wait and see, okay, did they all come together? Did one not come? Did one, it's just safety. It's just, after living there and doing the daycare there 15 years, I know, I've had high school kids, and I know some of the kids that are gonna have school permits this year. I mean, I just rather be safe, have the stop there. It's between the last 2 stops. It's not like we're asking them even to go out of their way. So, and, it's just not safe.
Like once a day, twice a day, morning, night? Or
The
they got
stop
kids
was,
moving
we've had
around?
the stop there the last, it's 3 to 4 years. 4 years. And actually, my parents have had to come before you twice before when they wanted to take it away. And you guys have said, keep it, because of the safety, because of the, the high school drivers.
It's morning and.
Yeah, it's morning and
Morning
night,
after
after school,
Morning, night,
before
is-
school.
Okay.
And they stop right at the corner, right in
front
front,
of
or that's where
Sarah's.
they used to?
They always stopped at Sarah's Court.
At the sidewalk, the middle sidewalk there, I guess, because it's not in the front, it's on the, so they stop back far enough so that all she has to do is make the turn.
Yes.
Cause they're going to the high school anyway.
So she donates her yard for all the
Yes.
kids to get on there. And there's just, yeah.
So basically, the kids they've been getting dropped off, or they're walking down the old where the band room is, they're walking down that street, and at the corner of the band, going down that sidewalk, they have to get out on the street to see, when there's a car parked, when there's somebody, say there's a vehicle parked at the high school, right on that corner, they have to be at the car's bumper to see if there's any car coming. And then they've tried, like I said, 4 years ago, they did do tried doing crossing guard, that didn't work, crossing guard didn't show up. Then they we came back to the board and they agreed that it was a dangerous intersection, and then they decided to stop there.
We're not asking to add a stop, just keep the
Just
stop
to
we've
keep the
had
one
the
they
last
have.
4 years.
It's, it's a very busy intersection. Probably 9 out of 10 kids that leave that school are probably
Yeah.
checking their phones as they leave the school. It's not worth, the reason I'm here, and my kids are getting to the point where they ride the bus at night, I just would feel bad if, I'm here for looking out for the kids. Because I know I watch them come across, because I'm picking my kids up there all the
Yeah.
time.
The bus
Yes.
normally goes down
Yes.
that street.
It comes that way anyway.
Yeah, comes that way.
4 or 5 buses go by.
Yeah,
If you'd like
several
to see
times.
it, I have it in
What's
my
that?
pocket, but it comes, we're between the last 2 stops.
We've actually had talked about even loading right there. But that doesn't work very well because then they have teachers parking in that too. So-
Yeah, and
so
I've always
we've
had-
looked at a lot of different options and we've discussed it on the phone, you and I and Sarah and I have, and we're not trying to put anybody in danger. I have, like I told you on the
Yeah,
phone,
yeah.
within my block, there's 12 kids that walk here and we have to cross this main road and they walk between the cars, and I stood out in the yard and played catch with my kid the other day and watched probably 5 or 6 people in a half hour go by at 45 mile an hour texting, so.
Yeah, and that's,
So we're
that's my
dealing with the
concern.
same thing here, we're not trying to put anybody in danger, we're just trying to make things as efficient as we can.
Yeah,
And that's why we talked about stop signs, and we talked about the possibility of, with the crosswalk, and maybe putting some, kids out there for silver court hours and things like that, so. And if those things don't work out, we have to change on the go.
but can't we just keep the stop and then don't have to
You
worry
don't
about
wanna wait
it?
till something happens.
I'm really an
You're
agreeable
right, that
person,
would
but I'm
be-
kinda
You don't
stubborn,
want
but,
anything to happen.
That's right, I know
To
you don't.
add,
so.
to add to the crosswalk thing, I don't know who Bill is, but it was Jim O'Brien that was talking about the crosswalk. So I have a sidewalk here and a sidewalk here, and the sidewalk to get to the bus is right in the middle. So to make a crosswalk going straight across is not possible. So he said it would have to be diagonal, which makes it even more dangerous, because then there's cars parked here and there's cars parked here. So either way, they're coming out between parked cars. And then they're in the road longer because they're going diagonally. So yeah, the city wasn't enthused with doing that either, because then they would have to have the portable stop sign in the middle of that whole intersection.
and I can give you a count, because I'm there every day, that how many kids actually park in the parking lot, it's very few. It seems like when my girls went to school, seniors and juniors, whoever got there first got to park behind the school, and the rest are on High School Boulevard, which, that's okay, I mean, I'm not, I yell out the window at them, they move, they're respectful, but I've seen them pull out of there too. I'm staying on the good side of the high school students, I'm not against, but I've seen them drive. I've seen my own kids
We've been
drive,
there, we've
yeah,
been there, done it.
yeah.
Just with talking to some bus drivers, I mean, there's at least 15 kids getting off that stop every day. I mean, some of these country routes, the bus is driving 25, 30 miles on it isn't dropping 15 kids off
Yeah.
the whole, so I guess we're just asking for one stop. I mean, if there's one to go, I wouldn't think that the one on the busiest, that's the busiest street at that time of the day in town, other than Main Street.
Yeah, I know.
I'll review it with Pat and we'll look at it. We can't take any action since it's not an action item, so. But we'll review it, and I will talk to you too. Some more.
So just to clarify, the bus is driving by there.
I don't know that, I have to ask.
Would you like to see, I have
The bus does go past there several times.
I have the route in my pocket. I can show you right now. It drives past it. Numbered coming from the school, the bus from Pat. So, yeah, it drives past that corner.
Okay.
But I'll just.
Multiple buses, don't they?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I
multiple
personally-
buses.
my- my
Multiple
personal
buses, they
inclination
drive
was
right
to
by.
actually load the buses on that side to come down here. So, and then there won't be anybody going by, because there's some sitting here with red lights.
We're two house, or house.
Would you support that, Cindy, if we
What's
loaded, if we loaded the buses on your corner to come to Allison? Cause it'd be the same thing, right? It'd be right
They
there?
went years ago, Mrs. Rattler and I have been doing this for 20 years on that street. And the why they went away from loading on that side of the high school was because of safety in the parked cars. So I understand loading on the other side of high school because, you know, you don't have the parking and you don't have that straight on parking, you don't have the parking lot.
Right.
And that was a safety issue, oh my gosh. My daughter's gonna teach here next year, and that was when she was 4 or 5 years old and had to go across the street. So that's why they went to the other side of the street. I'm not, yeah, I see that, but that's why it's even further for us, because it's actually blind,
It goes around before.
goes
yep.
around.
Yep.
And I would think I wouldn't even trust the safety of loading your kids there with the cars parked. But,
Unless they use the parking lot.
and I know we need to save minutes too, and I understand that, but I can give you ways to save minutes to save money.
We'll review it some more and,
Yeah,
and I'll talk
let
to
us
these guys.
look at it as a board and we'll get it figured out.
We still have another meeting before school
Yeah.
starts.
Okay, I can show up, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, all of you. Is that the only public items discussion?
Yep.
Okay.
That's it. Thank you.
Yep.
Okay, board items of discussion, anything there?
Nope.
Okay. Item set of an approved negotiations master contract.
We need to approve the settlement with the association. It's 1.87%.
No, I took it out, shall I? Sorry about that. Yeah. I know we missed the boat by about
It's
$2,000.
Yeah, it's total cost on the teacher side of $69,212, 1.87%. It's probably one of the lowest settlements in the state. I know it's the lowest in our conference in our area,
What was the percentage?
1.87. The teachers ratified it last week.
No, I know we're not, just on the last part.
Any questions on the? Huh?
Got a motion first before you go.
Okay. Ask questions.
Yeah.
We can get a motion to approve the negotiations master contract, the way that ended up.
Motion.
Second.
I'll second.
Any questions on this?
Questions?
Laura? Yes. Eric?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Scott?
Yes.
John?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes.
Motion carried.
We'll get those contracts out in one.
Item 8, approve the fees for the 15-16 school year.
We just need to approve the fees moving forward from last year. I recommend that we don't change any of our fees except for lunch prices. We did have a request from Beth Trulson. She would like to add a cleaning fee for the band uniforms. I'm not sure that that's something we should do or not. I'll leave that up to you guys. She proposed like a $10 fee to clean uniforms, and then the possibility of a rental fee for instruments, to help pay for repairs when the instruments need repair. And that could be $10, $15 a year. Those are also still fees that get waived if the people are on free or reduced lunches. What we're looking at would be, right now what we have is the secondary book rental with PE towel fees $55, elementary book rentals $35, athletic towel service is $15. Lunch prices, we recommend breakfast moves from $145 to $155. Secondary 7 through 12 from $260 to $270. Elementary lunch PK to 6 from $245 to $255, and adults at $360.
No, we found it was
Okay,
$250, or $350.
The adult price has to be set at $350, according to the state. The rest of them have to go up a dime every year until we equalize to what the USDA tells us we have to be at. And then activity and admissions tickets, grades K-12 activity tickets $30, senior citizen activity ticket $30, and adult activity ticket for 10 sporting events $35. And then we need to discuss the music fees.
Well, I guess I don't see a difference between a music fee and the athletic tackle fee.
Yeah.
So
Really?
the music rental fee, that would be for students that are using school instruments?
Yes,
Yeah.
And then the ones that have their own group?
correct.
And the fee is waived.
And the fee would be waived if they're on free lunches, and it'd be reduced if they get reduced lunches.
Who pays for it now if the rental ones get damaged? Just-
We do.
We do.
We do sometimes, I think the Friends Music do.
And the cleaning fee would just be at the end of the year.
Yes. We charge it up front, and then when they take them clean, they come out of that.
Is that normally what it costs roughly to clean that?
And she said it was like $10 a year for them.
And they clean them every year?
Yep.
And she doesn't think that any students or parents would not their kid out from being because of the additional fee.
She didn't seem to think so, I'm not so sure. Especially when we get younger kids. It could be a deterrent to some of those younger kids' parents not wanting to pay that fee as they move forward.
How about like the choir roles, do they do anything with those, would there be a fee for those too? I guess that would be Mrs.
Yeah,
that would be different.
That would be
Mr. Strong, yeah.
And he hasn't
But
said
the younger
anything.
kids wouldn't do the marching band stuff anyway.
Nope. It'd be a middle school, high school thing mostly. Although I think some fifth and sixth graders do use school instruments.
But that much from the other students have to purchase their instruments. For them to pay $10 a year.
For rent, basically,
Yeah, that's all they can be using, where the other ones are purchasing it.
I think one of the concerns that we have is the bookkeeping on who's gonna keep track of all of it, who's gonna do all that.
Could you do it just like the athletic towel fee?
Well, that does not get waived. Because that's extracurricular activities. So it doesn't matter if you're free or reduced, you have to pay the $15.
And-
Band is
It's a more of a curricular area.
So is that something that fall in your lap then, Shelley, or where would that end up?
I have no idea if it would be mine or Eileen's.
Oh, she needs
Somebody would have to
anything
put
do.
it into your JMC, I think JMC has the capability of charging fees, but somebody would have to give somebody a list of who to charge what. And
Will Ms. Strolson have to keep track of who's using what and turn that in to whoever, I suppose?
I guess for me, I can see the cleaning fee for the band uniforms a little easier than the rental fee sometimes, because usually a lot of times the kids that are gonna be using those rental instruments are probably going to be some lower income kids anyway.
Would there be another way to generate revenue in that program that would be easier to keep track of? And we could use that money for the same purpose?
I don't know, we could do it some other districts. I don't know.
I don't know what other
I've never been at a district that charged anything other than, we did charge an instrument rental fee. But only a few kids actually paid it.
If we have time for the next meeting, we'll do some research on it.
Usually all it takes is a couple emails.
We have registration.
Yeah, we
The
have
day after our
registration the day
next
after next board meeting.
we do some fundraisers or something to cover the cost of that cleaning? It
I
made
have
it
no
a
idea.
requirement of,
But they do the fair stand every year and make good money.
That's the Friends of Music, though,
Mhm.
not the actual department.
Well, aren't they, isn't that the department they're supposed to be helping?
Yes.
And they do their waffle breakfast every year. Don't you think they got some money to do that with?
I
do
guess
you
we're-
know about how many uniforms, I mean, like, what is their total bill to have them, you know, what
It
it
was,
is?
I got the bill, but then she had picked it up and because of Friends of Music was paying it. I seem to think it was like $280, something around there.
I don't think that's worth making parents mad over.
Can you ask her to contact Friends of Music or something like that? to see
Yeah, and
if
that's,
they're
and that's why
willing to
she
cover
brought
the
it,
cost?
she didn't think the Friends of Music should pay that one.
Wow.
I think
They always have, right?
Well, what are they supposed to do?
Yeah, they don't.
I mean, they make money to help the band, hello.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the fee increases without the band uniforms or the instrument rentals. Second?
I'll second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? So motion carries.
I got it.
We just need to approve the classified handbook. We only made minor adjustments. We did make one adjustment in policy, was to carry over 5-day vacation days. The thing that we really need to talk about with that, as we approve this, is those that have extra vacation days that they've carried over from previous years. What do we do with those? Do we pay them for them? Do they lose them? Or how do we handle that? We got a significant amount of days right now.
Is there a requirement that you have to pay them out?
We thought it was.
Oh, no, I thought it was too, and then the other superintendent told me it wasn't, so I looked it up on the Iowa labor website. And we found, it's just a policy, whatever you have for policy, we don't really have a policy. So,
And we have them use them by a certain date, otherwise they lose
We can do that.
you can do
the
whatever you
balance of
want.
them, yeah. How many days between, what do you got?
One has 26 days, I think.
What we're talking about school closure,
Would it matter how financially, whether you better off paying them off and, or hiring a substitute? I mean, we can take
Generally,
that one.
with those people, we don't hire a sub unless it's a secretary. And Eileen's the only secretary that gets, well,
No.
or no, yeah,
It's
no,
just
Eileen's the only one secretary that gets, so it's just basically custodians.
I think, this one had 26 days, it can, and plus
Yeah.
she gets another 15,
Right.
so.
Yeah, so we'd be looking at, like, the one has 26 days that would have been from last year, and then 15 new ones for this year, so that's 41 days that she would have to use. At least through the course of this year, and maybe that's something what we do, is we just tell them we can use it by the end of this year and lose it.
At the end of this next school year?
Yes.
Yeah. And then have it on to the next.
Yeah.
I think
I
that'd
think,
be fair.
I think that would be a fair way to do it.
Yeah.
Yeah, at least they've got the option then to use them or not.
How many days you got to use?
I can take all I want. I just don't get paid for it.
So in this handbook, then we'll change it to say, may carry over 5 days with the exception of the 2015-16 school year.
And then we'll bring a policy back next month to put it in the board policy.
Okay. So we need a motion to approve the change to the classified handbook for vacation days. Gail, John, seconded. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. So the motion carries. Item 10, the ice jet resolution.
We just need to approve participating in Ice Jet. I don't remember what it stands for. But it, basically it's a program that
Make something up.
Iowa Schools Joint Investment Trust, it's kind of like a bank for schools. One of the things that we would like to participate in, that we have to be a part of this to do, is it's called Pay Schools, and it would allow our parents to pay their lunch accounts and other things with a credit card online. They could just go to the school website, and instead of sending money with their kids and wondering if it gets there. One thing with that is that there's a 3% convenience fee, so that would be passed on. They just have to decide if they want to send a check or use the Pay Schools and pay the convenience fee. So.
We have an account already,
Yeah, I say we've
Is
been
Jim?
involved with this in the past, I
but
believe.
Allison Bristow has an account for them. North Butler does not.
Did Green have an account?
Not with you, so.
I don't think we ever have been able to do
So we
anything
just need to
credit card there.
approve North Butler participating in the program.
Okay.
It's just a matter of we're switching the Allison
Formality.
accounts to say North Butler on them,
Okay.
so.
So can we have a motion to approve the Ice Jet resolution? Second. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? Motion carries. Or I'm sorry. Called you Gail. Item 11, approve the dairy bread and fuel bids.
Shelley put out bids for, I don't know, it's not there. Put out bids for dairy and bread. Bid from Anderson Erickson and skim milk was 1945. And escalating 0.2340 firm. We have to decide which one we're using right there. No, okay. For skim was, chocolate was 2025, and escalating 2420 on the firm. Orange juice is 0.30 on the firm, escalating and 0.31 on the firm. Cottage cheese 8.75 and 9.25. Prairie Farms is 0.2175 and 0.2775. On skim, on chocolate, they were 0.2235 and 0.2835. Orange juice, they were 0.21 and 0.25. And cottage cheese, 0.86 and 9.0. So we're kind of split there on which one's better.
So on the escalating, is that what it starts at and then it can change?
It can change, yes, throughout the course of the year. And then,
Looks like there's an
and that's what we're with right now, right? And then for bread, we only got a bid from Bimbo Bakeries. We're currently with Anderson Erickson on the dairy, and I guess I would recommend that we stay with them.
Here's
A little bit better. And then, can you explain it?
So on the fuel bids, we got one from FS and Casey's. Casey's is just 5 cents if you use their Casey's card. Well,
5 cents off the
A gallon.
posted.
Yep.
Advantage FS is the other one, and they have a card that we use at the pumps out here. We get 2-cent discount on that. And then if we have it delivered to Green, it's 0.134 over rack price of the day.
Casey's is, everything's decent.
Buses are convenient.
What's Casey's giving you?
I don't know, I don't get diesel there.
Ag Advantage is really easy.
Right. I get big truck through Casey's easy enough. It shouldn't be that bad of a bus.
And you asked for bids on that, so anybody.
Yep.
Well, you send
They
them
heard
out.
town, yeah.
I didn't know who else to send them out to, and I asked Pat, and he didn't know who to send them.
Yeah. You know, the only problem with Casey's is they wouldn't deliver to the
Right.
bus barn
Yeah.
up there if we needed it.
Right.
Do they use that much fuel through the tank up in Green?
Yeah, they use as much fuel buses there as we do down here. Maybe a little bit more, especially this year.
Okay.
Our bus takes
Well, not right now. That's on the piece of ground we're keeping it right now.
Oh, okay, I didn't know that.
idea how many gallons we used last year, Shelley?
If you would've asked me that an hour before the meeting, I could've maybe pulled that together for you.
I figured you'd know that off the top of your head.
No, I don't.
Do you think FS is more convenient maybe for the driver? Is Casey's open 24 hours here? Would that
No,
be
but they've got,
ridiculous?
They
you know,
got
the credit card
the big
thing, you
pump.
can use it, you know,
Oh,
twenty-four
you
seven.
can't at their pumps,
Yeah.
okay.
Are their pumps open 24 hours at Casey's?
Yeah, as far as I know, they are.
Because the one in Clarksville would not.
I was
So we're
gonna say, I don't
closed,
think
they
Yeah.
closed
Oh,
the
maybe.
pumps down,
I
so
was
they
gonna say,
wouldn't
I
have
thought they shut it
fuel
down.
spends.
FS is not able to keep running that building, so.
So, I don't know. They're open on 24 hours a night.
Yeah, I don't
Well,
know.
then if we do Casey's, the buses, only green would have to fill up over here.
Right.
Mhm.
That'd be
Yeah,
the
that would be
convenient part.
Unless you go with like big FS for the bulk fuel. I don't know.
But like the shuttle buses could fill up down here during the day and,
Yeah.
you know, so you probably could cut down on some of your fuel usage up north.
Yeah.
Here's, they sent me a copy of what the rack price was for the week of, this week.
Rack price on number one diesel for the week of July 13th was $1.9945. Low sulfur diesel number two was $1.80. The ethanol we have to use in our vans, we're supposed to use in our vans, is $1.74. I think the only barrel we have up there is diesel. We have gas barrels. Okay. So we did have an ethanol barrel and diesel barrel up there. So that was fairly good savings.
Mm-hmm.
And we do run a lot of miles on small vehicles out of there too.
Do all of the buses go both ways every day? Would it make more sense to have a bus to fill up Butler and Green?
Like that was
Yeah.
Cause this price, we wouldn't have to pay road tax on that, would we?
No,
So we get that off of Casey's then too, or not?
would have to submit,
Okay.
go to the Iowa Department of Revenue request refund.
I think usually Casey's and FS are pretty comparable, aren't they? I didn't really pay attention ever, I guess.
I think the pump price.
I don't know. Gas is $2.65.
Thoughts?
FS would deliver it to green rather than this. Is it easier just to stick with one or more? Okay.
She just pays bills.
I
Right,
think
they
they'll-
need you too.
Do you think those prices are good if we have that, that's delivered to Green and we get the other cases down here? Or we get the whole thing?
Yeah.
Does it say anything about volume on there, Shelley?
No.
The bus drivers would have to go to
Yeah. Yeah.
At Casey's,
If you have Casey's for one and FX for the other.
Casey's just keeps the card and you just go in and.
But-
sign into
But
it.
then they won't be able to get.
Right, after hours, then
Right.
that'd be the issue with
Yeah.
that.
But the pumps aren't open after hours at Casey's, I don't think. But I'm not
Do we do
100%
much
sure.
fuel in between 11
I don't
o'clock
think
at
they are.
night and 5 o'clock in the morning?
Yeah.
Basketball games, I know they did.
No.
What did we use last year? Did we-
Duck us.
We use that.
Yeah, we've used
Yeah.
FS.
I'm not sure that these would get out last year,
Yeah.
so.
We couldn't find anything that had been bid out in the past.
And you said FS, we can get 24 hours a day.
warranty has Casey's got on their fuel in the winter time?
We actually had to come over here from Parksville to use Casey's fuel. Casey's in Parksville burned down because we went and started getting it from Express Mart and all of our buses gelled up. So we've never had a problem.
Okay. Cause that would be the biggest issue if you had buses gelled up and kids on them.
I don't know much about fuel, so.
It'd be more convenient if we just kept everything that fast.
And then they're not trying to run down
Yep.
Casey's either, this a lot more convenient, one
And
place.
deliver to Green, that makes sense.
Yes. Especially at times of days we probably need to fill after morning rounds and things like that.
So you need a motion to approve the fuel bid from FS
And A&E,
and
Yeah, and A&E and Bimbo Bakery.
Bimbo
I think
Bakeries.
they dropped the price of the orange juice. They're good on all the others, but they're pretty big, pretty big difference on the orange juice.
Did you go through a lot of orange juice?
Not particularly, no. Milk's the hot item, obviously, at lunch.
motion to approve.
Oh, we charge 50 cents for our à la carte, so we're okay.
Okay, second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? The motion carries. Item 12, approve the concession stand budget.
I met with Mr. Huff, well, actually I did, and then I went through it with Mr. Huff, with Modern Builders today. We've been looking at different designs on the concession stand. That's what I got from him today. This is the flat drawing of what they're proposing right now. Basically what we're looking at is handicap parking down here on what would be the end of the track. We would funnel all traffic in here and up the sidewalk. And we would take tickets up out of a window up here, a new window up in the concession stand. The blue area is the existing concession stand. The yellow is what we're proposing to add on. It's adding 8 foot onto the existing. It adds a stall in each bathroom. Handicap seating along a new retaining wall here. So it would meet the needs of all the grants that were written, I believe. So it would take care of all that, and we wouldn't have to worry about any additional seating at this point with the handicap parking and accessibility and the seating. If you look through the packet that I just gave you, they've talked to different contractors and got budgets. They're not solid bids, they're budgets on the work. They talked to Schroeder's on the concrete work, and the interior concrete work would be about 15,500. Exterior concrete work would be about 21,000. And there's gonna be a lot of groundwork with that too, to build up, so they can build that retaining wall and the platform. Structural work they've got packaged out at about 39,000. The plumbing is through Ross, and that's about 4,550. Electrical is with Weddekings, and that's 3,400. Landscaping is Wapsie Pines, I believe he said, and that's 5,940. Then there's some other items that would be finish items, and that's about 10,700. And their total budget on it, with architectural and design fees, their proposal includes them supervising construction so that we don't have to do it. And then a 5% project management fee. They're looking at a budget of about $110,515. Right now, we had, to the best of my knowledge, with the $200,000 that the board had put in and the money that they had raised, we had a total of about $420,000. The track came in at $342,179.50, which left us about $77,820.50. So that means that if we were to approve this budget, and it'd have to be kind of a loose budget, we'd be looking at about a $33,000 extra that the board would have to kick in on this. That would come out of PEP or 1 cent sales tax. I did get some emails back from some members of the athletic complex committee, and they were concerned that there wasn't enough room and enough stalls in the restrooms. So when Marty was here today, I asked him what it would cost to add another 4 foot on, to add another stall in each restroom, and he said the cost would probably be roughly $3,000 to $5,000, maybe up to $10,000. So we'd probably be looking up to an additional $43,000 the board might have to kick in if we were to go with this. They did say that they thought if we got started on it now, that it would be done by the first football game. The biggest question would be whether Schroeder's could get the concrete work done or not, and I talked to Dan last week, and he said that he didn't believe that would be a problem. He said they're not overbooked, and they should be able to get right to it.
How old's, we're adding on to this structure?
This would be adding on to the existing structure and closing it all in metal. The new addition would be basically studs and with metal over the top of it. We do metal all the way around to make it look the same, make it look uniform all the way around.
According to your drawing up there, which is the old part?
The old part is,
Gray.
it's this bluish gray area right here is the existing, and then the yellow up here would be the new.
How old's the old part?
I have no idea.
Anybody have any idea?
Would have been-
It was probably put up in approximately 1983.
83?
Yeah, it was after I
About the
got
time
out of
they built the
school.
football field, probably.
Yes.
They seem to think it was pretty structurally sound. They would take the top off it with this and recap it.
This is a block building, correct?
It's a block
Mhm.
building, yes.
So they put a new roof on it, then really, the block should be fine, I would think.
They even talked about putting a roof right over top of it.
Nope, he said today that they weren't gonna do that because it wouldn't be cost effective enough. It costs too much to make the new trusses.
Okay.
What are you thinking, John?
I'll just add new to the 37-year-old. I guess I haven't looked at it that close, you know, I'm just wondering. What's gonna happen to the old block? That's gonna be lined?
It'll just be covered up.
Yeah, I guess if somebody's looked at it, I haven't.
The wall between the existing bathrooms would stay, except for they knocked part of the back of it out and extend it. If we were to extend the extra 4 feet, then they would figure out another way to do that, because we'd have to move one of the doors, obviously, to the, I think it was the women's restroom. I guess, you know, if it's only gonna add $5,000 or $10,000 if we're gonna do this, I would recommend that we add the extra 4 feet on. It'd be crazy not to.
And some of the committee members are correct if you're gonna host conference track, district
Right,
track,
that's
or
where it's
anything
gonna
like
be a
that.
bigger deal.
And you still have to bring porta potties in too, even with that. so.
Yeah, I know, like, even at Nashville, I think they have, 4 in the women's,
Yep.
and there's still a line. Are some of the materials gonna come from local?
I don't recall where he said the material,
Okay.
where they price the materials out. But we tried to get them to use the local companies as much as we could with Ross and Letta Kings and Schroeder's.
I would like to see that, stay local as much as possible,
Yep.
even with maybe some of the building supplies.
Yep.
Too. They've always supported us well,
Right.
local businesses, so I
Yep.
think we should.
And if you're curious about where we're at with our sales tax, with all the other projects that we have going right now, and so a couple other ones we're gonna talk about here yet tonight, if we did them all right now, we'd still be looking at a balance of roughly $600,000, a little more than $600,000, if we did all those projects. So it wouldn't be too big of an issue to do that. We get about $46,000 a month in our 1 cent sales tax.
Does that include, that doesn't include this?
That does not include this, no. I did not put this in. We currently have a balance of just over $1.3 million. Leave us roughly $625,000. If we did all that, I don't think we probably do all that. So obviously we're $42,000 for the closed walkway.
My only input into it also is, if we don't do this, we lose about $100,000 in grants probably for sure, 50,000 from Walmart and 50,000 from Blackhawk Gaming, so.
And I think it would be a nice addition to our facility down there.
I think if we're gonna do it, we just wanna make the restrooms bigger and, cause that, you know, that's gonna be an issue with track meets either way.
So I guess what I would ask if we're going to do this, that the board approve a budget up to about $120,000. That would leave us the room to add on, just in case the cost went up with the extra. He wasn't able to give me a hard number, he was giving me a rough number with adding the extra stalls and that, so.
Any further questions? If not, I need a motion to approve the concession stand budget up to $120,000. That track came in a lot higher than we're figuring out.
Is there gonna be anything else? Cause I know when we first, talked about this, many years ago, what did we, maybe you can help me out, Scott? We said a number and we ended up,
200, we wanted to go on
I thought it was
50 and we upped it to 200.
yeah. Is there gonna be anything else?
There will be some fencing that will need to be done.
I know, but I mean, that's, how much are we gonna end up having to
I don't know the answer.
go over our original 200? Or is there anything that we can get by without for a year or anything, just for unseen?
We can put up temporary fencing. We can use that for a year. We can reuse the fencing that we have, we can take down, at least what's in good shape of it. They rolled it all up, and I think they were careful pulling the post out.
I mean, it could be a feasible.
I think so.
You know,
Yep. And we are going to, we have that big pile of lime there, we're gonna use some of that lime, and we're gonna make about a 6-foot walkway all the way around. That way we don't have to get mowers close to the outside edge of that track, and the fence will go through it, and it'll provide a nice solid standing place for anybody that wants to stand along the edge. It'll drain off, so it won't get, most of that stuff, it sets up like cement. And we'll have them use that for fill when they do the raised platform area.
It's like every project, it seems like it's crazy what it costs. For me, $125,000 for that concession stand, when half of the building is already there and it's a steel sided structure, stud walls, you know, not finished. Seems crazy that it costs that much.
But part of it, you know, you have to be careful how you do it, because we have to submit plans to the fire marshal before we can even go ahead. Everything we do has to go through the fire marshal.
Build a house for $125,000.
She built a nice house for it. You know, a good chunk of it's the groundwork, the concrete work. They're gonna have to move a lot of dirt.
that's part of it, because it's not sitting on flat ground.
Yeah.
How big is it gonna be?
No, it's on that hill.
How big was
And they're gonna have to build that hill out flat a couple of ways.
The grant.
Oh, there are several of them.
One of them was tied in the handicap.
All of them
All
were
of
tied.
them were.
Mhm.
Well,
You know,
that was something
and that's
we
the
needed to
thing,
do
and
anyway.
that's why we asked them to include the handicap seating into this, so we wouldn't have to buy bleachers in addition at this point.
The concession stand was discussed years ago anyways, from what I understand. That something needed to be done, because it's not handicap accessible
Mhm.
at all.
One's not big enough.
And there's just no place to go if it rains. You go to any other store in the conference, almost, they all have that overhang to stand under. They all have handicap accessible restrooms. If you look at these pictures of ours, it's not good. Even working in the concession stand itself, can't fit very many people in there.
you're gonna have to bring in porta potties for a big event like that, no matter what you do. Where I was at before, we hosted district track 2 years in a row, and we brought in, I think, 15 porta potties, and that's barely enough. We probably had 1,500 people there, not counting the kids. And that was 1A. I was amazed at how many people followed that.
Even for football games, it lines up too, for that.
And I guess I would say for the $5,000 to $10,000 extra that cost, that'd be pretty minimal if we're gonna do the project.
You've had very good community support too, with people donating money towards a project like this. You know, to raise over $200,000 is pretty good.
Now, Marty did say he thought some of these would probably come in lower than what they did, but they're, you know, or what they estimated, what they budgeted, but they have to budget to where it kind of protects them too.
I'd be encouraged if it came into the budget.
Yes, it would. So I would agree with that, actually. Nothing ever does.
Yeah, to say if it came in at budget, that would be good.
So do we have to do anything with bleachers?
Not now, we wouldn't know. No. And just an FYI, we are gonna take some of the bleachers over at the softball and baseball field and put them up on the visitor side this year to add, so that there's a little bit more seating up there. Pat and I talked about that this morning.
I guess I'll make a motion to approve it. I can't see losing the grant money that we got, you know, by not doing it, so see what other options we have.
Need a second?
Also,
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? So motion carries. Thank you.
Yep.
To the 120,000, yep, up to 120,000. Item 13, approve the entry changes at the high school.
Last month, I think it was, we talked about the entry, adjusting the entry at the high school, cutting the door where the current window is at for Eileen and adding another window. We talked about getting more bids. I contacted both Point North Builders and Kidder Construction, and both declined to give us a bid on that. They were both too busy during the summer. So we still have the bid from Modern Builders, and that was, I think it was right around $18,000, if that's something we want to go ahead and do or not.
can you still get it done before the school year?
I think they can still get done before school.
Is that all the new card system for entry?
Well, that goes along with the video cameras that we'll talk about here in just a little bit. They have a buzzing system with that, so.
So any other questions on the entry change at the high school?
So there'll always be somebody in the office to let the people in then?
There's always there'll always be somebody in the office. We have it set up so that while Eileen's doing lunch this year and while she's taking her lunch, there'll be somebody there.
That
And then
goes
down
back to
here.
your phone and that stuff
Yep,
too, yeah?
yep, and then down here, when Susie's gone to lunch, Lindsay will be in the office most of the time, or Amy.
That was $18,000.
It was roughly 2017 something. Remember exactly what it was. Yeah, I think so.
If we don't do it,
Then we don't do it.
okay,
We can still, then we could still add the buzzing system at the other door if we so desire with the next thing we're talking about here. Yes. And then we'll lock them after the bell rings to start class, we'll lock the doors, and then entry would be through the main door
And then they'll be unlocked again
at the end of the day.
at the end of the day
Yep.
for,
But the crash bars would work throughout the day if they had to get out,
Yes.
for a fire or whatever.
Yep.
They
They'd
lock
all
up the
be
doors now.
accessible exits at that point.
I know it was
Yeah,
17 something.
Yeah, 69, 19, 18,000.
Yeah, to my wasn't sales tax. It would add a little bit of safety at the high school as far as people coming in, might be able to slow somebody down if we had somebody coming up, upset and slowing down, so they have to go through there instead of go right through the classroom.
did I need give any input on what she thought on?
Yes.
She
Kind of where the,
liked
kind
she
of where the
liked the
idea
idea,
came from,
okay.
yeah.
She doesn't think a bulb had a protector.
Yep, we started out actually just talking about another window in the buzzing system, so that she could actually see who's coming through down below, and then kind of read this. Just so that everybody would have to come through the office to come in the building.
So can we have a motion to approve the entry change at the high school? Second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? So motion carries. And item 14, approve the video cameras in the buildings.
Mr. Huff and I have met with 3 different companies and talked about adding video cameras to both buildings. The first company we met with still has never got back to us. We've received bids from Electronic Engineering out of Waterloo and Security Equipment out of Des Moines. We walked the buildings with them. Both bids are almost identical in what they're providing us. Electronic Engineering's bid at the high school is $52,000 for the equipment and an extra $18,720 to install, so that's about $70,000. At the high school, their bid was $48,000 for equipment and $16,000 to install, so that's $64,000. Security equipment, says Milestone because that's the software that comes with it. And their software will actually allow us to take video with a cell phone and pass it onto the system where it's going to be recorded. And the idea behind security cameras is it helps us with discipline if there's issues. It'll help us with security in the building. It'll also help us if somebody says they fell. In the district where I was at before, we had someone say they fell. And we went back and found the video and they never fell. It allowed us to find discipline issues and deal with them. You know, it's the same purpose we put cameras on the buses. Security equipment's bid, and this is at the elementary school here in Allison. Their bid, and this is with install, is $56,774. And both of these bids, both bids from both companies include the latch system, the electronic latch system on the doorway, which puts a buzzer on the secretary's desk with a camera on it, so they can see who's at the door. Then there is a $95 monthly service with SEI, and that basically takes care of updates on software and any issues that we may have. And then their bid at the high school is $50,125 with a $105 monthly service fee. I've worked with SEI before, very responsive to this particular salesman. I have about a 5-year history with, a good guy I works well with. I would recommend that we accept the bid from security equipment on the cameras at both buildings and the security system for the door. What's that?
Warranty on the system.
Yeah, I don't remember what it is. It's 1 year parts and labor, I think. Yeah, 1 year parts, labor, and service guarantee.
Is there much to go wrong with?
No, most of the stuff usually comes back to software and things, and they take care of that remotely.
Fee is an extra charge, or
Yep.
is it still an extra charge?
No, not usually. sometimes if you have equipment breakdown after the warranty, then you have problems. But the cameras that they put in where I was at before, we had really good experience with.
So they would be in all the hallways?
Be in all the hallways and around the exterior of the buildings. And I don't think there was any areas that we really left uncovered.
Do most schools have these?
Yes. There's very few that don't have them anymore. And I think more have them for legal purposes than for discipline issues. One thing they do help with, I know, and when we practiced our lockdown drills where I was at before, we participated in the Alice program. If you have an intruder in your building, you can see where they're at all times, and you can let people know where they're at.
Is this something they can access remotely, like from sheriff's office or
We would be able
someplace
to access it from our cell phones. Where I was at before, our alarm would go off, and then I'd get a phone call from security equipment asking if they needed to send the sheriff, and I can pull it up on my phone and look, and, oh no, it's a cobweb in front of the camera, or the leaves are blowing, or something like that, or something fell down in the hallway. So it's pretty handy.
I got it right here, but you.
Basically, we'll have one station in each building that'll have a screen, and you can set the screen up so you can see all the cameras at once, or you can see certain cameras in one place. You can set it up
This is just
many different ways,
16
different views
cameras
on
that I
the
can pull up.
screen.
So then we can switch to the different cameras and we can play back.
You'll know what's going on.
Oh, you have that at the Clarksville building, Shelley?
Just pop up these.
So you've got the same system at Clarksville?
No, they have a different system.
Different system.
But she told me not to go with
I
it.
would not.
She said the service isn't very good.
Takes them 6 months.
But like I said, I've worked with security equipment before, they're very responsive. Tom, the salesman, if we didn't get a response right away from the Omaha office, Tom's out of Des Moines, I would call him, and they would be on the phone. So,
You had that split up into the high school and the elementary school, and so what was
Correct.
the total cost from electrical engineering for installation and equipment?
go back to what,
15.
it was 52 and 18, so that's 70. And that was here in Allison. And then at the high school is 48 and 16, so 64, 134,000.
What was the total cost of the other one?
And the other one is, excuse me, 56,774. And I think it was right at 50, so just over 106,000, I believe.
Did you say if there was yearly fees on top of that? No.
There's some licensing fees with the cameras, but I don't think they're really.
But there was a monthly.
There is a monthly service
Monthly
fee, yes.
SEI.
Yep, that's about $50,000, so it's about $106,000 through SEI. And then there is some other things, like software support that you can get and pay for too. They add us some options. If I can find it, I'll tell you what they are. Option one would be a maintenance agreement for the video recorder. And that's $159 a month, and then on the complete camera system would be $375 a month. And that would cover replacement equipment. That's $4,800 a year.
$4,800 on the SEI,
Yep, if you go with the complete camera system maintenance agreement.
and then the other one, they didn't have those additional fee there.
I didn't see it.
But that 4,800 is an optional.
Yep, that's optional. That would cover camera breakdown or if your recorder broke down.
Did you have much issue with them in the past?
Not too often. It was, all our equipment was relatively new. We had 38 cameras and I installed 22 of them the last 2 years that I was there. What's that? I've worked with them for the last 5 years. Where I was at. And SEI did have another bid, but the software wasn't quite the same and wouldn't do all the things that this one does, and the difference in price was very low. I think it was like $2,000. They were actually, the guys that wrote the bid were actually shocked that it was that close in comparison.
It did quite a bit less.
Yeah, you couldn't push from your cell phone, you couldn't watch it on your cell phone. And the licensing fees didn't work the same way. And I did have this in my original facilities project plan, and I'd set aside $100,000 for the video cameras and the buzzing system, so we right at where I thought it would be when we originally put the facilities plan together.
Any further questions? Now we need a motion to approve the video cameras in the buildings with SEI. A second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? So motion carries. Item 15, discuss and approve LED lighting.
Well, this became because of a conversation that I had with Will Whittaking. Right now, Mid-American has a rebate on LED lights. The lights themselves actually cost $29 a bulb, but there's a $25 rebate per bulb. So I had Will put together some pricing for this building. Alliant right now doesn't have the same rebates, so we didn't talk about the green building. He's put together two different prices here because we got two different sections of building that he's worked on. One section of building where he's already gone through and rewired and put new ballast in and stuff. The price on that section of the building to relamp would be $38,545. And then the section that would need to be reballasted would be $50,621. So you're looking at about $90,000 there. But then the rebate, we have that. The rebates were $39,000. Our total rebate is $39,000 from Mid-American. So you're looking at getting half the money back. The lifespan on the LED lights is 25 years. And with the fluorescent lights, you're looking at about 5-year replacement. Operating costs, your energy is about 12 cents a kilowatt hour. The payback analysis, it's supposed to be a lot cheaper to run. Approximate life savings on the bulbs is about $142,000. Will projected for us that we would save about $5,700 a year on energy in this building alone by changing the fixtures. Just this building.
So it'd take 9 to 10 years to recover that cost.
Yep. And that's the only reason we brought it in. We wouldn't have to do the whole building, we could part the building, but then your rebate goes down just by which parts of the building you do. There are parts, like I said, there is a part that still needs to be relamped anyway, and that's the section that would cost more. A lot of this building has already been redone with the T8 fluorescent lights that are supposed to be more efficient, but the efficiency that he's showing is over those T8 lights too. So I really not leaning one way or another on
for
this.
those TA lights that we take out?
I don't know. I guess we're gonna talk about that. That's a good question. I guess that's a possibility. One thing is though, getting rid of the LED lights is a lot easier. You don't have to worry about the mercury and that like you do for fluorescent bulbs. the light that the LED gives off compared to the new T8s, the difference is incredible. I couldn't believe he'd put some new LEDs in the one section in the preschool room up here, and the amount of light that goes off compared to for us, it's unreal.
No more night nap time.
It would cut into nap time.
But they can dim those too, they can put dimmer switch on them and tone them down a little bit.
Well, they shut the lights off when they take a nap anyway.
Well, but they can, LED, they can
Yeah,
dim them where
right.
fluorescent they can't.
Right. And I don't know if you can do that with the ballast or not. I don't know how that would work.
Oh, I
with
don't know,
electronic
yeah, 'cause
ballast.
they still get the ballast, don't they?
You know, the benefit to it would be that we could do this out of the 1 cent sales tax and save the $5,000 on energy. It's just a matter of if now it's the right time or not with having just relamp a big chunk of this building.
Few things that we actually get paid back.
Yeah, it'd be, we're looking at 10 years before it actually pays it back.
We won't have something new all the
Right.
Yeah.
So, you know, it's worth it, I don't know.
Which part of the building needs new lighting?
I don't remember. I think it's that in down there.
Rest of the building.
Yeah, I think he started down here, has worked his way around. I think it's this end of the building down here. If I remember right. And I think also the 2 classrooms in the new hallway up there have been done.
They'd be replacing this stuff?
They take these bulbs out.
They
for
just,
different
and like in
bulbs.
here, they would just take the bulbs out, because this has
Yeah.
all been relamped.
This has got new ballasts in them.
But, yeah, they just changed it and going to LEDs
Yep.
as opposed to.
Yep, changing the bulbs.
Isn't, short-term life was a balance?
Didn't say anything about how affecting the ballast though. I would think it would be easier on the ballast because it's not drawing as much power.
But that's really your most expensive part.
Mhm. Changing isn't any fun.
No.
I just got this morning from him, so I didn't get a lot of chance to talk to him about it. It's something to look at a little bit more and bring back.
They asking if they're beating market for those lights we take out, and what they might be worth.
So,
You never know
They're
those.
used, Eric.
Yeah. You never know.
no, but you know, somebody might want them if they get them cheap from buying them new.
Mhm.
Any other questions you want to ask?
Life expectancy
25 years.
of the ballasts,
All of them, okay.
and what the cost would be.
What's that, Scott? I don't think it'd take them too long to do most of it. Well, like with these, it'd just be relamped, and then he could do most everything he has to relamp probably in an afternoon.
How long is the rebate going on, Cal?
I don't know the answer to that.
Mhm.
Yeah. Yep.
I make a motion to table it until we answer those questions.
Get a second? All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same? Motion carries. And item 16, we need to go into closed session for that? Okay, okay. Action on the Green Elementary building.
This morning when I got here, I was gone yesterday, had gotten an email from Rick Engel, who's our attorney. Evidently we've got an offer on the elementary building from the city of Green. Basically what they proposing was the dollar that we talked about, but they had asked that we remove the fuel tank, the fuel oil tank that's up there. Don't know what the cost of that would be, but I don't think that, I guess I don't think that would be in our best interest to remove that at this point. I don't think it's leaking, I don't think there's any problems with it. We ran fuel oil out of it this winter. You know, it's there as backup for natural gas. I don't think it would be in our best interest to put money into that if we're going to get rid of it, and, you know, if we're going to sell it to the city for $1, I don't think that's in our best interest at this point. It would cost us to get rid of it, and I don't think that's the
Why
right.
should we incur that cost if we're
Right.
Right.
give them the
Yep.
property?
Do we need to look at that, open it up for bids to sell it, or?
We can. I had Rick put paperwork together for that. We would put a timeline on it. We'd have to have a public hearing at the end. Basically,
To open the bids at that point, or?
we have to have a public hearing, but yeah, then we would open the bids, and we would reserve the right, of course, to reject any or all bids, or to negotiate with the high bidder, or the preferred bidder, depending on what there is. We talked with the submission of a bid, we would ask for a business plan, what they're gonna do with the building, so that we can ensure that they're not going to let it go back to the city of Green and become an eyesore. It's up to the board what we want to do with it at this point, whether we want to accept the offer from the city, or whether we want to send something back to them adjusting that, or whether we want to put it out for bids.
Will that make a big difference if we say we want to move that food?
I don't know.
Whatever tank it is.
It's 10,000 gallons.
Where's that?
It sits just to the north of the parking lot there, just on the north edge of the kitchen where the dumpsters and things are. It's very right there. And I don't know if it goes partially under the parking lot or if it's just in the yard.
I'm sure there's some way of testing, see if for a week.
We can have some environmental testing done.
Because that'd be the next thing, you dig it up, how much, you know, if there's ground contamination around it, you have to clean all that up.
That's gonna be our responsibility
Right.
most likely anyway, no matter who gets it. So, that's something we can pursue as we move forward. I don't know who would do that, I have to ask Rick. Obviously, from the conversation we had, he's done that in the past, so.
I think we should open it up for bids. I thought, like, we talked about this several months ago, and it still might feel, you know, like for about,
I kind of agree.
it's worth a lot more than that.
Especially if they have to have a plan, you know, a business plan. Is that what you said?
Yes.
If we open up for bids, they have to have a
Yep.
business plan.
So what kind of time frame are we looking if
Um,
we do this?
We'd have to have it out for at least a couple of weeks. We have to post the public hearing between 10 and 20 days beforehand. So we could feasibly have it posted and have the public hearing at the next board meeting.
Okay.
Give Rick a call in the morning and get the ball rolling. He put together the ads and stuff for us, I believe. He's already done a lot of the basic paperwork, so. We started that because the city was dragging the feet a little bit.
Mhm.
I make a motion to put it up for bid.
All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same? So motion carries. Item 17, approve the contracts for the 15-16 school year for the classified staff.
We just need to formally approve the contract for our classified staff here as listed. Oh, yep, and we do need to decide, in the past, we've paid John Barth to be the treasurer for the district. Shelley and I were talking, and I talked to a couple other superintendents. No other district that I'm aware of uses an outside person. They have the business manager is usually the treasurer also, so we need to decide whether we want to do that or not.
What's it cost to have him do that?
$2,000.
Is that something on our annual report that they would, you know, segregation of duties, like check and balance on things, or
No,
not?
but realistically, I sent him my balance sheet and the top page of his bank statement, that's it,
So he doesn't look any farther than that, really?
that I'm aware of.
You don't think there's any benefit to having,
actually, I think the auditors probably do a more thorough job of checking my bank statements. I don't really know what he does, I guess. I don't know what other responsibilities the treasurer is supposed to have, so I just know that that's what he does. And I think most other board secretaries are treasurers also, so I didn't, when I started here, I was shocked. I don't know what you mean, I just thought you said
Yep,
$100,000.
just thought we'd bring it to your
Just,
attention.
I think you got that.
One other thing that I need to point out is that with approving these contracts, basically what we've done is we've carried the 1.87% that we agreed to with the teachers over as a package deal for these people also. So if they get insurance, that package, the insurance counts towards that package. If they don't get insurance, then they get the 1.87% in raise. Except for Kim, because we changed her to salary.
And Pat.
And Pat. Correct.
Then there's some easier.
Oh, yeah, and then we have the contracts that wouldn't be renewed would be Jessica Rogers, Sky Watkins, Amanda Willitson, and Patty Winkleman.
You're gonna do the administrators and the same.
Yep, might as well do it the same, and we did the same thing with those, so. Except for Heather's.
If you want the dollar figure, it's 21.7 on the classified and 74.57 on the administration.
Cheryl's here
Well, if you think back 2 years ago, these people all took freeze, so I don't think it would be right to do that again.
What'd you say, give them a freeze? You can need to leave
Maybe
again.
at the wrong time.
Motion for approval, treasurer.
Or just exclude that position.
That would be either included or excluded.
Yeah.
I'll make the motion.
We need a second for, to approve the contract.
The classified
Okay,
administrator.
classified administrators without, or with excluding the treasurer. All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, the same. The motion carries. 18, human resources, resignations.
Okay, we have a resignation from Mark Rush. I recommend that we approve that resignation.
Motion to approve that resignation. Second. All in favor, say aye.
Just as a side
Opposed,
note,
the same.
we will not fill that position. We'll just change people around to cover it in.
Give them our thanks.
Hires, we have Laura Reed for high school special ed, Morgan Steer for junior high volleyball and junior high girls basketball, Joe Miller for junior high football, and Dylan Edeker for junior high football. Dylan would be pending that he completes his coaching authorization this weekend.
Motion to approve.
Second. All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. The motion carries.
Just a note on the subs before we do this. Once the sub's been approved, we're not gonna bring them back, so the ones that were approved last year will continue on. We just have some new ones here. We have John Lewis, who will be doing a long-term for Miss Ann Schutz when she goes on maternity leave. And then Wendy Cruz as a teacher also, and then Sue Mostak as an associate. Sue just retired and would like to continue to sub when she so desires.
Motion for approval.
So moved.
Second.
No second.
All in favor, say aye. Opposed, the same. The motion carries. Administrators reports.
Done tonight.
Nothing? Okay. Mr. Foster, anything?
Just a little bit, just what I told you in my update. Blacktop's down on the track. We had some questions from some members of the complex committee about the condition of the blacktop. So I talked to Darren at Fisher Track. He's coming up either tomorrow or Friday. I won't be present, so I did talk to a couple of members of the committee, and they're going to meet him down there. But he did also send up the engineer from Larson Engineering. He was up yesterday, and he said that he thinks that the blacktop's fine. There was some question about the slope on the high jump area, and he said that